It's Mr. Paul, and I am so excited to get to see everybody and hang out with you today and make some art together. This is our 13th video, and I look forward to this so much every week. It is really, really awesome to get to see all of these awesome artists out there all over the place, all over the country really, hanging out with us making art. So before we get started, go grab whatever art supplies that you have. It doesn't matter, whatever you've got laying around the house will be just fine, because artists always make it work. So if you have pencils, paper, paint, hi Carmen, whatever you have that you want to work with, you go grab it, and then we're going to get started making some art, okay? Let me take down my fancy sign, get my paper ready. I'll get my art supplies together too, and then we will get started. How is your week? Anything interesting going on? Anything inspiring or exciting? I started working on a new painting last night. It's a giant painting. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. You can just see like a tiny little piece of it right back there. It's a big painting of flowers that I'm working on. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I like painting big colorful things, so flowers are a lot of fun. That's what I'm working on right now. Have you been working on any art during the past week? You know, you don't just have to do it on Fridays. You can make art every single day if you want to, just like Mr. Paul. I try to do something creative every day. And there's all different kinds of art that you can do too. It doesn't just have to be visual art. You can write a song, you can sing a song, you can dance, you can act, whatever you like. You can write a story or a poem. But try to be creative every single day. That's a really good goal. All right, now before we get started, I wanted to show you some inspiration today. Sometimes when I come in here to my art studio before I start working on a painting or a drawing, I like to go through some of my art books and get inspired. Oh, Carmen's quilting a new quilt top. That's cool. You should teach us all how to quilt. We'll do it. You can do the quilting lesson a different day of the week. I would sign up for that. That would be very cool. All right, let me show you. This is an artist named Soren. He's an artist that I really like a lot, that I think is pretty inspiring. And one of the reasons why I like him is that he has a very unique style. You ready? I'm going to show you some of his work. Let me scoot up here so you can see it really good. Okay, this is what Joe's artwork looks like. He has a really unusual way of drawing his characters. See how they all have big heads, little tiny noses and mouths, and big eyes? And then they're kind of like stretched out bodies. Whenever you see a piece by Joe, you always know that it's his because it has that style. And I really like that style. I think that's kind of cool. Let me show you a couple more. I put little flags on the pages that I wanted you guys to see. It's always good to get inspired by other artists. It doesn't mean you have to copy them, but you can just see how they look at the world. Here's two more. Aren't those cool? Look at this flower painting over here. This flower with this face inside. And then here's another figure, another person. She looks like she's kind of sad because of her pose, huh? But look at how he exaggerated. He made her face really big. Her feet are really small, right? And that's okay, because it's his art. You can do whatever you want in your art. I always say that, but it really is true. Every artist has their own way of seeing the world. So I want you guys, when you're working on your art, to think about, how do you see the world? What do you want to show us that will make it different from what anybody else would draw? Here's just a couple more. I like this one a lot. I love that girl that's reaching up for the stars. Here, let me see. Oh, there we go. Isn't that cool? I really like his style. And you might not know it, But you already have a style too, because everybody already has their own natural style, the way they see the world and the way they draw it. So don't worry about comparing your art with other people's art, because it doesn't matter. Who cares if your artwork looks like somebody else's? Do you think Joe is worried about if his painting looks like some other artist that maybe does more realistic stuff? No, he's having too much fun painting these wacky characters. Here's one more. Look at that. That's a drummer. I know some of you are musicians, so I thought you might appreciate that one. Can you imagine what kind of a beat you could make if you had that many hands? See, part of being an artist, one of the things that I think is really fun about being an artist is breaking the rules sometimes. That doesn't mean breaking the rules that your parents tell you to follow or anything like that, but on your painting or on your drawing, you can do anything you want. So just because people have 2 arms normally, doesn't mean that they can't have 6 or 7 in your version. Whatever you need to make it work for your piece. So there's some inspiration for you. Joe Soren, really awesome artist. And now we're gonna have some fun today. Are you ready? You guys have your art supplies? All right. I think I need to sharpen my pencil first. So if you have some pencils, make sure they're good and sharp and ready. Yeah, it's a little dull. I hate taking the time to stop and sharpen my pencils. Sometimes I'll just draw with it even when it's really dull like that. But today I'm going to sharpen it because we have some serious work to do. All right, you ready? All right, here's what we're going to do. Sometimes people get a little nervous thinking about the idea of starting on a new piece of art because they think it has to be perfect. But everybody in the world can doodle, and everybody in the world can scribble. So that's what we're going to start out with today. We're just going to doodle and scribble all over this paper. Sounds fun, right? Okay, I'm not even going to look at my paper. You can look at your paper if you want, but it's kind of fun if you don't. I'm just going to keep looking over here at you, so I can't even see what I'm doing. Hope it turns out okay. Just scribble all over it. Try making different kinds of lines, like doing some that are real sharp, some that are real loose and squiggly, whatever you want. You didn't know we were going to be doing something crazy like this today, did you? All right. Is it a masterpiece? It is! All right. It is going to be a masterpiece. Just wait. Did you doodle or scribble along with me? All right, if you weren't looking yet, set down your pencil, look at your paper, and look at all those lines and shapes that you just made. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? When I look at that, it makes my eye move all over the place. But what I thought would be really neat is to make some doodle monsters with you today. So that means we're going to take a look at what we've just drawn on here, and I want you to look at your own scribbles, just study it for a minute, and see if anything jumps out at you and starts to look like it could be an interesting doodle monster or creature or whatever you want to turn it into. You see, sometimes artists start out making a piece of art and they have a real clear plan and they know what they want it to be. But sometimes if you don't have a plan, all you have to do is just start scribbling and then look at it and see what the painting or what the drawing wants to be. So I'm going to look at my scribbles. You look at yours. And if you have a pen or a marker or something, that could be a good way. But start seeing if there are any shapes that you can go over and outline heavier so that you can start to make your own doodle monster. Okay? I see two circles right here, right off the bat. That's the first place my eye went. And I think that those want to be the eyes. So I'm going to go over those a little bit darker. Now yours is going to be different because you've got your own unique scribbles. I need to lower this so that that'll hold it in place. There we go. All right, so there's one eye. And here's another one. You see it? All right. This kind of looks like it could be the little pupil in there. There isn't really one over on this side, but that's okay. I'll just make up one. All right. There we go. Now, what else do we see? I think mine's going to be kind of like a doodle alien monster. So let's draw the outer shape of the head. Ooh, and look here. This could be like two little antennae. That's what I'm going to use. Now, yours is going to be totally different, so don't worry about trying to copy mine. I want you to look at your own scribbles and see what shapes you see in yours. We're all going to have really different pictures this time, and that makes it really cool. I can't wait to see everybody's drawings. Look at that, two little antennae. All right. This sort of looks like it could be a mouth, huh? I think I'm going to make that the mouth. This kind of looks like a little nose. Make some little lines around the eyes. You can always add more lines that aren't there if you want some. It's starting to look cute. All right, maybe this is like a little ear. That means we're going to need an ear over here. Let's see, maybe like here. All right, and alien face, alien doodle monster. I need to give him a name because just calling him a doodle monster doesn't seem nice, huh? What should his name be? If you have any ideas for a name, you can put it in the comments while I work. And now I'm just going to add some other stuff just with my imagination. Like I'm going to put little highlights in the eyes so they look nice and shiny. Give him a little nose. A little... what does this guy's mouth look like? See, sometimes all it takes is just getting something on your paper, and then the magic just starts to happen on its own. You don't even have to plan it. It just, the artwork tells you what it wants to be. But I have seen a lot of artists feel like they might have artist block or they don't know what they want to draw, and they'll just sit there for a long time and just stare at a white piece of paper and feel like they just can't figure out what to do. In fact, one time I was teaching a class and I had a student who sat there for the longest time just staring at that paper, and I kept going over and saying, "Are you going to draw something? Are you going to draw something?" And he said, "Oh, I just have to think about it. I have to wait until the inspiration comes." So finally, after about 15 or 20 minutes, I went over and said, "Would you like me to help you?" And he said, "Okay, sure." So I took a pencil and I just did a little scribble on the paper. And he looked up at me like, what? Why did you do that? But then I left, and when I came back a few minutes later, he had started turning that scribble into a drawing. So if you're ever just staring at a white piece of paper and it feels a little scary, put something on there. Pretty soon the inspiration will come. All right, since I have a lot of cool scribbles inside of him, I'm actually going to make him kind of polka dot. I'm going to use some of those shapes because I think that'll just make it even more interesting. And he's a doodle monster. He can have whatever shapes I want. Cute. Okay. Now, do we want to give him, maybe this will just be a head. I feel like he needs an interesting neck or maybe like a little collar. We'll have him waving at us. How's that? All right, I think my doodle monster is ready for some color. If you're still drawing though, you keep working. It's okay, there's no time limit. You guys can work on your artwork as long as you want. But I am going to start painting. I put out some colors here on my palette. If you want to use colored pencils, markers, whatever you feel like. Let's see, I might do a little mixing first. What color should this guy be? Maybe greenish yellow. So I'm gonna take some green and some yellow, put them together. Do it again, make a lighter one by adding some white. Whenever you do light and dark versions of the same color, that can really help you to make it look more realistic. You can put shadows and highlights and stuff like that. So usually when I'm mixing colors, I'll try to mix like a few different, it's called values. That means the darks and lights in your piece. Each one is a different value. Add a little blue into that one just for some variety. There we go. Okay. And you see the cool thing is once you start painting or coloring, it'll cover up all those other scribbles that you might not want. But it can even be fun to leave some of those in and turn them into other shapes too as you go. All right, let's start painting our doodle monster. We never did give him a name. Let's see. Bob? You think his name should be Bob? We'll go with Bob unless somebody comes up with a better idea. So let me show you what I meant by using different values. Now, see how, so I'm going to pretend that there's a light source, maybe the sun or a light bulb or something is up over on this side. So that means everything over here on this side is going to be a little bit darker. And if you want to do shading in yours too, you can. But I'm going to go just a little bit lighter now in some parts so that the darkness can be the shadow. That'll make the ear really feel like it's three-dimensional. Here, let me show you. Go a little darker inside the ear, and then I'll go really light right there. See how that just makes it look a little bit more 3D. And if you're going to make a doodle monster, well, you might as well bring him or her to life. Just like good old Bob here. Now, what planet do you think Bob comes from? If I had a little more time, I would probably draw a background and we could create a whole story just based on this one character. A character that started as just a big scribble. Isn't that pretty cool? You can create a whole story. You could turn Bob into his own book. You could write a book about your character. You could make like a cartoon. You could make a comic strip. You could do anything once you have a character figured out. Sky is the limit, and I think it is awesome to be as creative as possible. Okay, I'm going to do some of my lighter color here to make some of these little creases stand out. Go back in with some dark. Now, as you're working on yours, because yours looks totally different, you should start thinking about the story for your character. What's your character's name? Where does your character live? What kinds of things does your character like? I think Bob here really likes pizza. For some reason, I just have a feeling that Bob is a pizza guy. So maybe if I had a little more time, I would draw a background with Bob in his own pizza shop. That could be interesting. Maybe the pizza even comes to life and becomes a character too. Once you start being creative, it's like getting on a train that just keeps on rolling. And there's no such thing as a bad idea when you're brainstorming. Whatever pops into your head, write it down, make a little sketch of it, and just try it out, because you never know. You might change your mind. You might decide you don't want Bob to be working in the pizza shop. That's okay, but you still, it's worth trying. You don't want to shoot down any ideas too quickly, because you never know when you're going to have a really cool one. That's the fun of brainstorming. There's never a right or wrong when it comes to art. You can do anything that you want. Just like the artist I was showing you at the beginning, Soren. He does anything that comes into his head that he wants to paint, he paints. It would be pretty boring if everybody in the world painted the same thing the same way, wouldn't it? We don't want that. Your artwork is kind of an expression of you and how unique and awesome you are. So the last thing you want to do is try to be like everybody else, right? I'm just going through and doing some of my shadows since I've got the dark on my brush. Gotta clean out my brush. All right, now we'll go in with the medium color. I have to figure out what color I want to make all those spots too. So many decisions to make. Need a new paper towel. How are yours coming? I wish I could see them right now. I want to pop through my computer screen and show up in your room where you're working so I could see them. I wish I could do that. Just once we're all finished, once you have your artwork done, if you're allowed to, be sure that you post it somewhere online and tag Palenke Arts or tag Art with Mr. Paul so I can see your beautiful artwork. It always makes my day when I get to see the art that you guys make at home. Concentrating here. Have to make sure I get this just right. See, we've done a variety of things together. Sometimes we look at pictures in books and we draw from those, which I think is a lot of fun. But sometimes it's also fun just to draw something completely out of your imagination, that you don't have to look at anything except what you see in your head. Okay, now let's see. Now I'm getting over to the light side, so I'm going to switch to my really light green now. And if you're using paint like me, or even if you're using colored pencils, or whatever it is you're using, you can try blending the colors together if you want it to kind of just fade from one color into the next. You can do that with colored pencils. You can do that with even markers. Certain kinds of markers you can blend. But you don't have to. It can also look cool just to do really flat colors too. That's also a part of having your own style, is figuring out how realistic you want it to look, how you want the colors to work together. That is all your choice because you are the artist. All right, Bob. And see how all those other lines that I had just go away. It's like Bob was always meant to be there. Go a little darker inside the ear for a shadow. Getting very fancy with you guys now, talking about shading and everything. You can handle it. I've seen your art. I know we've got some talented people out there. All right, let's get his little antennas. Might need a smaller brush for that part. Let's see. Good thing I have a bunch of brushes right over there. You never know what size you're going to need. Go a little darker on this one since it's on the darker side. Okay. He's coming along. Have you figured out a name for your character yet? You better start thinking. It always helps make them feel more real once they have a name and you can start talking to them while you're working. I can be like, "Hi Bob, how are you doing today?" Did you hear him? He answered. I heard him. Maybe Bob just talks to me right now. He's kind of shy. Do you want to say anything to everybody out there, Bob? He said to tell you all that he can't wait to see your artwork. That's very nice, Bob. Artists are a little crazy. It's okay. You've got to have fun. Otherwise, what is the point? I think Bob looks very happy. Maybe he's getting ready to go on an adventure in outer space. Get on, his spaceship and travel all around. See what all's out there. Trying to find the universe's best pizza. That might be what Bob's adventure is all about. I like his skinny little fingers. Just putting a little shadow on them, being extra fancy. I just broke my brush. Look. Here's the here's the top half. Here's the bottom. Just put it back together. It's okay. I do that a lot. There we go. Looking good, Bob. All right. Yay. Now, let's see. I'm going to get a different brush that's not broken. And we'll do some of the spots now. What color do those want to be? Maybe they are light blue? Yeah, I like that. That's a pretty color. I drew a lot of spots, didn't I? Never really think about how simple or how complicated I should make something for one of these videos. Usually I end up picking things that I could spend like 4 hours on. You guys wouldn't mind, would you? We could just hang out for 4 hours today, work on these pictures. I know it's only supposed to be a half hour, but I think every single video that I've done with you guys has been longer than that. I just don't want to stop because I have too much fun hanging out with everybody. Can't help it, you guys are just too fun. All right, now I'm going to make a little bit lighter blue so that the spots over on the light side are lighter. Looking gorgeous. Okay, couple more. And here. Awesome. All right, now I'm going to mix up a little pink, and I'll use that on the antenna. The fun thing about making up your own doodle monster is you also get to make up all the colors. Because who gets to say what color a doodle monster is? It's whatever color you want it to be. You're in charge. All right, let me, even though the paper's already white, I'm just going to use some white paint and paint in the eyes so it kind of covers up all those lines and kind of just cleans it up a little bit. When I'm painting, I like to rest my hand so I can get a nice smooth edge. That's one little trick. It's hard to make a real nice clean line if you don't have some way to support your hand. Now, just to make his eyes look good and extra round, I'm going to put a little bluey gray over here on the dark side and blend it into the white. And see how that makes the eye look a little bit more 3D. So that's a little trick you can do if you want your eyes to look a little more 3D. Even those you can put a shadow on. Now I need to get some more white paint because I've just about used up all of my white paint. There we go. See, I use these big tubes because I go through a lot of paint in Mr. Paul's studio every week. But it's always a lot of fun. All right, let's get that other eye in. Now I'm super excited because next week, when we have our next art day with Mr. Paul, I'm going to have a special visitor come and we're going to make art together. It's a friend of mine named Therese Garcia. She is an awesome artist and she does a lot of art that is called abstract art. So next week, we're going to be learning all about abstract art with my friend Therese. And it will be a whole lot of fun. So you have to come back and hang out with us again. All right, now let me put my shadow on this one. Beautiful. All right, and then I'm going to paint inside the eyes. Now, if we were doing this digitally, it would be so easy. I could just click in there if I was doing it on my computer, and it would just fill it in for me. But we're doing it the old school way, which I think is also really cool. Okay. Just going over some of my lines here. Oh, Bob, you are looking so cute. Okay, let me get his teeth in. We're almost done. How's yours coming along? I cannot wait to see. Maybe we can make up a story with all of our Doodle Monsters together. That would be pretty neat. Your characters plus my character, if they all hung out together, and we make up a story about that. That would be fun. We should do that. Okay. Let me just go over this line. Oh, he's looking so cute. Okay. Oh, this is too much fun. All right. I'm going to color in his collar. Go a little bit lighter over here on the light side. And then I think I'll give it some little red circles, buttons, something. I don't know what they are. It's a pattern. Maybe Bob just likes wearing fancy jewelry, who knows? All right, there he is. There's my there's my Doodle Monster Bob. How did yours turn out? You don't have to be done just because I'm finished. If you want to keep working all day, you go right ahead. Or you can make more of them. You could add other Doodle Monsters in the background. You know, maybe Bob needs some friends. But I'm going to sign mine for now because mine's finished. Whenever you finish a masterpiece, you have to put your name on it. So I'm going to write Mr. Paul. Ta-da! And there is Bob. I hope that you guys are having fun. I hope that you liked making your own Doodle Monster and that it just reminds you that art should be a lot of fun and that every single person is an artist because everybody can pick up a pencil and scribble. And that's the first step sometimes. So all week long, I'd like for you to try to remember that and try to do something creative every single day, okay? I'll do it too, and we'll just have a whole week of being creative together and making art all over the place. Sound good? I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you have a wonderful, awesome, creative week. And I'll see you here next time, next Friday, for another Art Day with Mr. Paul. All right? Bye-bye, everybody. Bye, Bob. He's waving to you. Bye-bye.